Let's do this.
What's up, guys? I think we'll start off with the fact that while this may be a reality TV show, it's also an athletic tournament. And I know, Chael, you spoke on this in the past, as one of the toughest ones in sports. With that said, do you have to come in here with the coaching mindset of like, hey, guys, ignore the cameras. We're here to win a competition?
You want to go first? All right, so, yeah, you're there to win. And honestly, we were telling these kids yesterday, we're going through the picks, and you get excited about guys that you draft, essentially, but only one person wins this thing, right? So you just got to pick the right guy. It's not about picking every guy. You got to pick the right one, because only one wins. But, you know, Chael and I were talking about this on our show, and he said, this is the hardest sporting tournament there is in the world, and I agree. And we're going to see who wins this thing. So, yes, it's a competition first.
Yeah, and coaches get a lot of credit, like just the way that this thing is presented, what turns into a competition between he and I don't ever have to compete. Like that's the furthest thing that this is, but it's presented that way. And I will tell you the truth, which is a coach cannot help an athlete a tremendous amount in 30 days, but a coach can hurt one. I've seen that happen. I've seen coaches grind their teams up before, take their motivation away, where all the guy wants to do is get out of the house and go home. And that is the part that you're talking about that does get missed a little bit. Like they show the physical side of this and they show the weight cut, but it's the torment. It's, you know, so many people will tell you, if you want to make it in life, you got to try, you got to show that you want it. But there's not a lot of barriers anywhere in life where you actually have to really sacrifice and show how important this is to you. And the Ultimate Fighter is very unique for that reason.
So what's the balance here, right? Obviously, they have to go in and win fights, but they're also in a house away from their families. We've had guys up here, fiancés pregnant, newborns and stuff like that. How do you as coaches, kind of when they have those mental wobbles, keep them on track?
What's the chance of a lifetime for these young men? And, you know, they have to almost put everything else in a box if you want to survive under these rules. And to Chael's point, I did that. Right? I think this is why Chael and I are going to be good in these roles, because we've done it before. The first time I did this thing, everybody got hurt because we overtrained them. Now I understand how to balance training these guys for a short period of time. While we won the fights last time, we were having to forfeit moving forward into the tournament. But yes, they are. I know they say don't compartmentalize. They say don't stick things in a box and tuck it away. I am going to tell these guys that that's what they have to do, because right now you have to live for the opportunity to move forward, win fights, and try to earn a contract. Or do so well that even if you don't win, the UFC goes, I remember that guy. I want to make sure that this dude's in our organization.
Yeah, and you know, one of the tricks is finding the right team. And a lot of that isn't just who's got the most skills, but who wants to be with you. Like, there are some guys that are really going to hope I pick them, but there's other guys here that admire and look up to Daniel. And I will just tell you, if I end up with some of the guys that were leaning towards Daniel and I start to lose them, I'm going to go grab Daniel. And I'm going to say, can you talk to this guy? And with a young man, it has to be another man, and that other man has to be older. That's just the way it works. But to look up to and to be able to listen to somebody, yes, if I had a guy and I was losing him through this process, particularly somebody that had already been eliminated, and I got to go to D.C. and say, can you come talk to the guy? I will do that.
And Chael and I are open to trading. We do we will. You might see in this season trades where we just go, hey, Chael, I kind of can't handle this guy. You want him?
See, it's funny because you guys are obviously friends. You guys are colleagues. But you're one of the most competitive people I've ever met. And I know you don't want to lose. Is there a chance that halfway through this season, it's like, this motherfucker's getting one over on me and the competition starts breeding between you two?
It's always going to be competitive. Chael and I, honestly, we've competed against each other since 1999. When I was wrestling at Oklahoma State, and I would wrestle his friend Doug Lee, and he would wrestle my friend Mark Munoz, I knew who Chael Sonnen was, even if we didn't wrestle each other. I knew Mark had a busy day at the office every time. And Chael probably knew I had a busy day at the office with Doug Lee. So it's like we've been competing against each other for years. And so that won't change. And also bragging rights. We do a show together twice a week. I want to be able to go on that show at the end of this thing and go, at any moment, there's a lower third on our show that says currently off topic. I want that currently off topic to be when I'm just rubbing it in his face that I kicked his ass the entire season of TUF.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It does get very competitive, and there is a game that we both want to win. The strategies are interesting, though. I mean, ultimately, they're going to flip a coin. Whoever wins that gets first choice, but the other guy gets to pick the first matchup. Mm-hmm. If you win that matchup, you keep the power to keep picking, and that's a very powerful tool. So, I mean, it is a little bit of a debate of which do you want. Do you want first choice or do you want the first guy?
So I got to be honest, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to pitch to the producers to just, you win the coin flip, you win everything. Because why should there be a difference, right? The luck of the draw is a powerful thing. And when faith intervenes and flips the coin on your side, you get all the power, right?
Yeah.
Or would you agree to that?
I do agree with that, yeah. And
so will you agree with the coin flip? We go to the producers and go, whoever wins the coin flip takes all the power.
No.
No?
I couldn't agree to that, no.
Okay.
That would be too powerful. I mean, that would essentially settle. No.
You're
It's
Thanos.
There's
You're
checks
Thanos.
and balances, right? So I think that it's only fair. However, if you win the coin toss and you get the first pick, you keep that roster. If you lose the fight you predicted, now you've lost everything. So, that's interesting how he said that. I will tell you this, though. Through this process, to be a veteran of the Ultimate Fighter should be viewed in our industry so much more valuably than it is. I remember when the UFC would have 5 and 6 shows a year. And on the regional scene, if one of those guys made the poster and he was a UFC vet, that's what they would write, a UFC veteran, you'd sell the place out just based on this guy. And being a UFC veteran is certainly an honor, but to come to the Ultimate Fighter, and I'm not talking about winning, I'm talking about show up on day one and don't leave early. No excuses, no illness, no injury, no I'm homesick, to make it through. It is such an honorable process. And you could have the right two guys. The Bonner versus Forrest fight could be the very first one because the coaches don't fully know who they're putting together. And I just think that's interesting. The first time I came through, one last story, but Kelvin Gastelum was the last pick. And the guy that Dana himself thought was going to win this whole thing is who Kelvin had to fight to get into the house. Dana was right. That guy was so good that Kelvin's fight with him was the only one where they went to overtime, which means the third round. That was the hardest and closest fight that Kelvin ever had. That guy never got into the UFC. He got looked at from that moment forward as the guy that wasn't good enough to get in the house, instead of as the guy that pushed the champion further than anyone else. So, I mean, it's a very dangerous game. And in that regard, Daniel and I don't take it playfully. We will try to help these guys.
Last one from me. You know, in the spirit of competition, you guys both fought at 205, Prime versus Prime. Which one of you would win the fight?
Okay, so here's the deal. We aren't fighting. I told this to Dana yesterday. I go, I don't want to fight anybody. Because he was making fun of us. He goes, did the GFL call you guys? I was like, they didn't even call me because they know I don't want to fight. And Chael probably turned him down. So, like, we're good. But I just have no desire to fight anyone. Chael and I did come up with an idea, though. And I don't know if you guys would be into this, Chael. Like, is it the right time that we pitch this thing?
Tell him.
Okay. So Chael and I are talking, and we're going, I have Michael Chiesa on my coaching staff. Chael has Colby Covington on his coaching staff. Why don't they just fight, and then Chael and I coach them? That's about as close as we would both get to going back into the octagon. So why don't those dudes just fight each other?
And to back Daniel up, I can't believe nobody's suggesting that. That's the obvious fit. Like, I don't think that Colby and Chiesa are going to get through this process without finding one another.
But imagine how much we can instigate them.
Yeah.
It would be awesome. Like, we could instigate those guys for 4 weeks without having to get punched. See, I would instigate Stipe, but there was always a moment that I thought, once I was like, man, he might actually hit me. Because I was messing with him so much. We don't have to worry about getting hit by each other. Like, we can make them hit each other.
Yeah, and by the way, you asked me earlier if I would agree to all the power within the coin flip. Yeah. I will agree to all the power if Colby versus Chiesa find each other. I'll agree to concede the whole process to that.
So we need to go to the big wigs right here and pitch this. Hopefully they see this and take it into consideration.
By the way, can I tell you something? He's such a gentleman. We have sparred together plenty of times. I did well with him, and that meant a lot. He was the world champion. I've never won a round with him. That's just the truth. So he comes out and covers me, and I actually really appreciate that he does that. But it doesn't hurt my ego. I was an 85. It doesn't hurt my ego that the world champion could have beat me.
He was good. Chael was good.
Speaking of that, you started touching upon your coaches. Can you guys elaborate and tell us who's going to be in your corners?
Yeah. So I got, like, all my guys, right? I would have had Javier Mendez, but this dude's in, like, Abu Dhabi, right? He kind of lives there at times. He's with Khabib and them working. So Bob Cook, who's been, like, my right-hand man my entire career. Rosendo Sanchez, my little boxing coach, the guy that attacked Brock Lesnar. He was about to get his ass kicked. He had no idea. He didn't get the script. He didn't get the script. Like, I talked to Brock. I said, walk in here. You push me.
I remember where I was when I watched him push Brock. I thought, what is he doing?
I go, dude, follow the damn script. I go, Brock, push me. So Brock shoves me. And Rosendo pushes him. And Dana grabs him. He collars him. But Rosendo Sanchez, Michael Chiesa, John Wood, who I've grown to really like, and I think he's a tremendous coach. John and I connected over the pandemic on Fight Island. I would kick his ass in video games, and he'd hold pads for me. And Thiago Beowulf's one of my friends, kickboxing guy. And Jacob Casper. He's the guy that he wrestles in the WWE now, but he was a two-time NCAA Wrestling All-American. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to tell you mine. I got Cowboy Steve first off, and he'll do our like the nutrition and the weight cut. He'll be the strength and conditioning coach as his official title. He also serves as my real-life father-in-law. Yeah. I got Colby Covington. Colby will be able to get his hands on these guys. It's the same weight class. I hope that Colby views this as a training camp. I hope that he understands he's got the great minds and bodies in the nicest facility you could ever train in with the nicest equipment. Ultimate Fighter, they told us the day we walked in, they said, look around the gym, and if there's anything that isn't here, tell us, we'll have it overnighted. So when I tell you this is the world's nicest gym, that comes with no exaggeration, and I hope Colby views it that way. We do 2 practices a day. I'd like to see him put his hands on these guys twice a day. Mason Fowler is coming in. He's on an airplane.
Yo, when did you do that? When did you get Mason Fowler?
Dude, 2 days
Mason
ago.
Fowler's a turncoat and a backstab.
You know Mason?
Mason Fowler is a turncoat and a backstab.
What? I didn't even know you knew him.
He trained with Cody Merrill twice a week when he was trying to become world champion.
Really?
He needed to wrestle, and he would come to my academy.
Wow.
I went so far as to call him my athlete. And he's on your coach's. Mason Fowler is a turncoat.
Could he take Merrill down, by the way?
No, he would just get beat up. It was all wrestling. It was all wrestling. But in jiu-jitsu, Mason was just a man. And, dude, he was so strong. He wasn't that strong when I was fighting. I think when you retire, like, people, their strength is, like, bigger.
Mason finished Craig Jones, and there was such controversy. Largely, John Danaher had such a problem with the calling of the match that we redid it. Mason tapped Craig Jones again, and this time with no controversy. I believe in the grappling world, if the UFC Fight Pass event, if they don't put Mason Fowler against Gordon Ryan, I mean, when we look back at how great Gordon is and he is, he's got to do that match. That is the escaping match, and no one's pushing that together. Gordon and Mason have to grapple. Then, of course, I got Clayton, Jamie Huey, and I think I've rudely forgotten a coach. I apologize for that, but that's our staff.
Well, speaking of Mason, was that purely coincidence, or was that already the first competition won against DC? Right
Yeah, I didn't know that story. I'm going to have to ask Mason. Vinny Magliesh was coming with us, and you're filling out the forms. You got to check a box, and Vinny had to check a box that he didn't want to check, and so it delayed his participation, and that's where Mason came from. So Mason was a last-minute shuffle. That's true.
Well, speaking of, you guys have been there before. You understand the severity, and I think one of the best things you said earlier, you're talking about you didn't want to break these fighters. You want to give them the best training in there. So when you're picking your staff, are you taking that in mind, that you're not just picking somebody random that might be a friend of yours? You're picking people that you think can have an actual meaningful impact to their training?
Yes, the answer to that is yes. Daniel and I both tried to get one of our own guys. He had a guy that he thought would be great for this process at one of these weight classes. I had a guy that I thought could do great in this process for one of the weight classes. We thought we had power.
And we did. And I swear to God, that was part of the reason we did it.
Neither one of us did our guy.
We did it because we thought we'd each have a guy. And then come to find out, he was going to pick my guy first.
Yep.
So then we show up. Our guys aren't here. I walk in and I'm like, where's my dude? And then Noah is the producer. Noah, he has no explanation. Well, we got to pass it through these things. I'm like, what? No, what the fuck? The guy, they told us we had a guy.
Yeah.
And then we show up. Our guys aren't here.
Yeah.
It's the most
Noah's
thing.
slick, by the way.
He's a slickster, man. You can't trust him. He's got his hand in your... Hey, he's talking to you here, and he's got his hand in your pocket.
Daniel and I were trying to come up on a car. Like, traditionally speaking, Dana would get the winners of the show car.
Where's our car?
And Noah let us know, but the difference was those coaches fight. You guys don't fight.
Yeah.
He got us on the house. On the house, we're out here, all because he was a better negotiator. I was
you
not
believe
ready
that?
for him to say that.
I swear I
told
walked
him.
away like he robbed me.
Yeah.
Noah, he
I shook
robbed
his
me.
hand. I shook his hand. And
Unbelievable.
congratulated him.
Bro, I thought I was getting a car at least.
Yeah.
I'm here now. I don't have a car. I don't have the money. Noah got me.
Pulled out a sword and just chopped us up.
Noah, can you please get the? Can you?
The
please
winner of the
help?
Ultimate Fighter is Noah.
Noah, could you please come here and help? Like, I dropped my name. I want people to see who you are so they know to go in the opposite direction when you come walking.
You know, and you mentioned earlier, and you guys are friends.
You got it, Noah?
And here's
this guy right here. That's Noah right there.
Noah.
That's Noah.
Watch him. When you see him, hide your wallet, man, because this dude ain't giving you a car or your
No,
paycheck.
the company owes him. The company needs to. This guy's already saved them about 300
He
grand.
saved him a ton of money. Well, thank you for doing us like that, man.
I like your
very rarely
Very sharp.
do I get someone like do you like me, you did me, and I still quite enjoy you. You're very handsome. You got nice hair, and he dresses nice. See that? This guy,
Yeah. Sure.
a good-looking guy can rob you.
I'm trying to keep up with you. Yeah. Smooth. Noah was very smooth.
Thank you, Noah. Go
Well,
ahead.
again, you guys are friends, you know, but you're also competitors. But one of the things that you guys mentioned earlier, you said, if I can't get to this guy and I know that, say he's a DC guy, I'll take him over to DC. And I'm sure you would do it likewise. Would you guys ever thought that would you have ever thought of that the first time or when you were there before? Or is it because of the strong relationship that you guys have, but also wanting to make the best effort for these fighters?
Yeah.
Would you think you had ever done that before?
Well, I think you're different in retirement also, right? Because as an athlete, you think that the answers you have are going to work. You can't step outside yourself to go, maybe Chael will connect better with this guy. As a retired guy and a guy that coaches full-time, maybe he will have a better connection. I'm not opposed to doing that. With that being said, the guy needs to be big enough to go, hey, coach, I think I would do better there. I'm not going to do it for them, right? If you want to make that type of decision, you have to own it and go, coach, I think I'd do better there. But yeah, it's the relationship, the friendship, but also just being a different person than I was in 2018. In 2018, I was still a killer, right? Like, I was a killer. I'm not that anymore.
Yeah. Is it hard not to get vested into these fighters when you spend this much time and effort? Or is it just human nature to get vested and involved with these fighters?
I've never gone through a process. I had high school and we had school spirit. I was on a college wrestling team and we had spirit and do a reunion every couple of years. I've never been part of something where the bonding is as strong as this. And largely just because you will see them at their worst. I could only imagine. You win a fight, you can't call and tell your mom. You lose a fight, you don't get a call and get consoled by your mom. I mean, that is a very difficult thing. And so as these guys go through this, you know, they keep their game face on, but they're hurting inside. You know, these guys, they're having so much fun today, and they're going to go to the house, and we're going to pick teams and start training. 10 days from now, it's not going to be fun anymore. It's going to be very monotonous, and it is really a battle of duration, which will never get around the big statement that Dana made on season 1, which is, do you want to be a fighter? The entire time, you're going to have to ask yourself that. And it's very hard to say yes every day for the entire process.
I actually one time won a fight and still had to be consoled by my mom. Yeah. That's how bad it was. Like, sometimes,
Who was it?
Dude, Josh Barnett. He beat me so bad. He beat me so bad, Chael. I was fine. I had my belt. I walked around like the man. I was taking pictures. I had a cut on my head here. My mom, God bless her soul, she was the sweetest human being on the planet. I walk into that house, into that hotel room. The moment I saw her, I fell to the floor and started crying. I'm in my mother's arms, and she's rubbing me. Poor baby, he tried to kill you. He tried to kill my baby.
Kill my baby.
Tried to kill my baby. I cried in my mom's arms for 30 minutes. It's crazy.
Josh Barnett is so nasty, though. People don't give him credit.
I hated fighting him.
If you talk about the best 5 heavyweights ever, and you don't mention Josh Barnett in there, you lose credibility.
He was so he just did things like he wanted to hurt me. I'm like, dude, we're just in the clinch. Why is your knuckle in my eye? Like, what are we doing here, dude?
He's mean.
He was mean.
Well, I know at the end of the day, you want these fighters, you know, everyone wants to get the championship, but what are you hoping that the fighters take away from this experience?
Well, first and foremost, I want it to be a positive experience. I want them to get good training. I want them access to some ideas and some coaching and maybe even some drills that they can take with them. But we want them into the UFC. You know, it is very strongly advertised that the winner of this tournament comes, and only the winner of this tournament. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if from 2005 to now, I don't know that there was ever a time where we ended up honoring that. These guys, they went through so much, and Dana saw it. Even on season 1, Forrest, but it was also Stefan. And so my only point is, if you have the right attitude and you can form the right relationships here, I mean, Dana White met them all yesterday. Hunter Campbell will be meeting them all. Craig Broussard will come over and they'll meet them all. If you start to build some relationships here, it's very hard to screw something in your career up if you get this opportunity. You're not guaranteed, but you are guaranteed that you're going to come out of this in a better spot than you came in. That's true.
So the fighters don't fight to get in the house anymore, right? So how was of scouting these guys, right? Like, do you go back and like watch film? Do you just look at the piece of paper and be like, oh, let's train with it?
So we do these drills, like we have this thing, right? We grappled, we wrestled, and then we did some sparring. And Michael Chiesa's a psychopath, bro. He's like, you get those friends that just like really try hard? It's like, that's Michael Chiesa, bro. He's like, my brain can only do so much. So we go through the process. And by the time I'm done after a couple hours, I'm like, I'm fried. We get into the locker room before we pick. Michael Chiesa has his computer in the entire coaching staff, and he's forcing them to watch fights. And I'm just on the back wall with a towel covering me and 3 on the floor sleeping. I'm like, I can't do it no more, Mike. I'm like, please stop. And then when we're picking, they're bullying me the whole time. And I'm like, dude, like, please stop. Like, I can't. Whose team is this? It's Michael Chiesa's team. He's crazy.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Hey, by the way, I will just offer something for you, whether you find this interesting or not. But let's just say that Daniel was to win the coin toss and get the first pick. He should know, whoever he picks first, whoever that person is, I'm going to put in the very first fight. And I'm not going to put my first pick against that guy. I'm not going to give you any more clues than that.
Can we make a deal?
Whoever he picks
Let's do first pick versus first pick.
Is getting called out in the very first match. So he better pick wisely.
Why would you do that?
To be a dick about it. Be a dick about it. To show you that this whole pick process is
But if you
flawed.
pick my first guy,
Yeah.
then I would say that you putting your guy against my best guy.
Correct. In theory.
So you want to take the best guy out.
In the first round.
Very interesting.
Which I don't think that they will take into account.
They would never expect you would. I would never expect you to put my first guy out there.
Yep. But
I hope you would not do that.
I will do that.
I hope you would not do that.
I even have a strong feeling who I'd put him against.
Chael.
But it will not be my first pick. That's all I can tell you.
This guy Chael sucks, man.
Chael, are you not going to let DC get too close to you? Like,
That's very good self-defense advice. I mean, the best thing you can do is keep it back. That was my father's rule. Most fathers tell their sons, you can defend yourself, but let him throw the first punch. My dad said, no. When he's if he's within arm's reach,
you gotta hit him.
You take the first punch. He said the fight has begun, so you keep him back. But if they evade that space, go first.
When they make an aggressive action, you take them out. When you put your hand out there, that's your warning. The moment it's almost like when we were growing up in Louisiana. And guys, honestly, this is why ESPN was very hesitant about putting Chael and I on the show together. We get a little bit like Tweety Bird. But when we were kids, I would get you and some guy. If I knew you wanted to fight him, I would take like a twig or a stick and I'd say, put it on your shoulder like this. And then the other guy, I would say, if you really want to fight him, you're going to knock that off of his shoulder. And by knocking it off of his shoulder, you are insulting his mother.
Wow.
How about that as a fucking kid, huh?
Yeah, wow.
How about that about starting a fight?
So
imagine what we could do to Colby and fucking Michael Chiesa. Think about it. That is how I started fights. I would put a twig and go, if you knock that off, you're talking about his mama.
Damn.
So then the guy like walk by him and shove him with his shoulder. Fight started. It was awesome.
Honestly, what do you think the odds are that Chiesa and Colby are going to pass each other twice a day, every day, and it's just going to be hot?
Well, they were like they were in the same area, but they seemed to not look at each other yesterday. Yeah, what is that? Why do people do that?
I don't know. But I mean...
Dude, if I knew that there's a guy in my weight class the whole time, I'm trying to stare at him.
Yes.
because I want him to know I'm not scared, but maybe by staring at him, I'm showing the fear that is really inside of me. Like, dude, I'm looking at you because if you look at me, I'm probably going to turn away from you.
And I just got one more for you guys. Outside of TUF, it's been a couple of days since Sean Strickland lost to DDP and DDP retained. I just want to know, Chael, you know Sean pretty well. What were your thoughts on his performance and where he should go? And DC, obviously you were there, calling.
Yeah.
People are kind of piling on this guy right now.
Yeah, why? Did he do bad? I was proud of his effort.
It's kind of crazy how much people are piling on when, sure, he lost. Sometimes you get beat. You know what's crazy? That I get it, that he can be like, I'm this, I'm going to do this, I'm this. Dude, sometimes it just doesn't fucking work. Your intention is to go out there and die, right? And some guy kicks your butt to the point that you're like, fuck, man, I might actually have to die fighting this dude. And you're like, I don't want to do that. Sometimes, right? Like, you have the right to pivot and turn.
Sure. Having your nose broke, it hurts really bad. Like, breaking a finger and breaking your nose, two small things, but I will just tell you, like, the pain is really immense, and to watch Sean reset it and stay in that fight, the math was already against him when his nose broke. He was not going to win that fight. He did not have the power. He wasn't going to find the guy. The math was against him, so he can stay out there for another 12 minutes taking an ass whipping because it was honorable, or he could quit. He chose to stay in there and take an ass whipping.
Yeah, he did.
So where these people keep saying that Sean didn't put out an effort, Daniel, it's not what I saw. It was a fair adjudication. It turns out DDP is better than any of us knew that he was. Turns out he's better under this game of the unified rules than Sean is. You walk away. That's how it works. You shake hands, you walk away.
I'll say this too, right? Because one time Luke Rockhold, he was on that podcast. He does the Jackson podcast, and he's saying shit about me. And that's my boy. I love that guy to death. But Luke, and I told Luke, I swear to God, I told Luke, I go, Luke, don't fight Mike Perry in bare knuckle fighting. I go, he's fucking crazy, dude. He's going to hurt you. Oh, he's too small. He gets punched in the face, his teeth go back, and he quit. Like, Luke made the right choice. Like, he stopped. Okay, my teeth are broken. I don't want to fight anymore. Sean Strickland, if he said, my nose is broken, this dude's better, I don't want to fight anymore, would you have treated him any better? He had no choice, guys. Lay off of it. The dude got beat. Don't make it. He didn't want to get beat.
I feel like people are equating his trash talk to Chael's trash talk, right? And it just...
Chael, did you feel like that? Like, you feel when you lost after talking trash, did people pile on you? Or did you just not care?
Not like they are Sean.
No, it's the weirdest thing, bro.
I was pretty good at blowing it off, but I have been very surprised because it's just not what I saw. I saw a really hard fight with two really good guys. One of them was better at it. We pack up and go home. I feel cheated as a fan at all. I thought it was a good fight.
Dricus du Plessis is really good.
Why is he so good? He's good at what? What is he good at? I still can't
understand it. He's everything. He's good at everything, actually. He can wrestle, he can punch, he can kick.
But what does he say about himself? Does he say he's a striker, or does he say he's a wrestler?
Dricus thinks that his technical skills are as good as anyone, even Pereira. Kickboxing.
Wow.
He, in his mind, and that's why he's so good. Because he thinks that what he does is the way things are supposed to be done. He's the man.
Can he stop Chimaev from taking him down?
Man, I can't really.
For 25 straight minutes.
I don't know, man. Hey, Dean Thomas had a great. That was one thing Dean Thomas was good about when he said it's hard to sprint like that for 25 minutes. So if Dricus can last through the first couple rounds, I think he becomes a real problem for Chimaev.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Just a short and stupid question from me. According to your show, one of you is good guy and another one is bad guy. And does it mean that in this tough season we'll see a good team and a bad team?
They're the good guys' teams. When I get a guy and I invite him over, I recruit him, come to the dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah. The kids I got along with best in school are the ones I met right outside of the principal's office. And if push comes to shove, I don't think Daniel's willing to cheat to win. I don't think he knows how to cheat to win.
I mean,
I do, and I will, and that's just the truth.
Yeah, Chael. I mean, I love how you look at me through these rose-colored glasses because, I mean, there's a very public instance in which I cheated.
Misunderstanding.
It was really. But honestly, I just think that we're kind of both.
They put the towel there. You're naked. You want to make sure everybody that don't drop the towel. So you
it really was. I was just trying to stay up. Because they already had showed my ass the first time I missed weights. I'm like, let's not do that again. We always make fun of this, right? Good guy, bad guy. Best show, #1 rated show on ESPN.
True.
It's kind of bad guy and just a slightly less bad guy. That's kind of what we like to call it, because I'll cheat a little bit if I have to. I will not say that when we flip that coin, it will not have a weight on one side or a magnet.
Do you feel confidently that Chiesa could beat Colby?
I don't know. And that's what makes it interesting.
All right.
That's why I'm interested. All right? Guys, thank you so much. I hope you guys watch this season of The Ultimate Fighter. Make sure that you guys tune in so they might ask Chael and I to come back. And if they do, make sure no one then pay us.